I'm Sarah Jensen, editor of OEM Off-Highway, and welcome to Design and Engineering Insights. Today, I'll be speaking with Thomas Healy, CEO of Hyliion, and Patrick Sexton, Chief Technology Officer at Hyliion. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today.
Thanks for having us on. Thank you.
So maybe if you could start by providing an overview of some of the work that Hyliion has been doing in the field of electric technology and sort of what products you guys maybe offer for that.
Absolutely. So Hyliion is bringing forward electrified solutions for the commercial vehicle space. So we're specifically focused on Class 8 semi-trucks, long-haul semi-trucks. And, our focus as an organization is really on the powertrain of the vehicle. So we're not trying to reinvent the entire truck. We're not developing a Class 8 truck from the ground up. But what we are doing is we're reinventing the entire powertrain of the vehicle. And, as we mentioned, the whole focus is on electrification and being able to bring lower emissions and lower cost solutions to the market.
I'm assuming you guys are kind of developing the technology specifically for electric vehicles. What is maybe the benefit of doing so?
Electrification, I think we're in this unique time in the industry where fleets know that electrification is coming. They're trying to really figure out what electrified solution is going to be best for them. And for the long haul space, fleets are really faced with three different types of solutions. You have full electric plug-in, hydrogen fuel cell, and Hyliion's Hypertruck ERX, which is a fully electric truck that uses natural gas on board to be able to recharge the batteries as you're going. And so, to your question of, what are the benefits of this and why are fleets interested in this global shift? And, it really comes down to, two benefits that the fleets are deriving. It's potential for significant cost savings and potential for very significant emissions reductions to be able to improve GHG climate change impact that we're having. As many of the viewers I'm sure know, climate change is an ever-increasing problem, and the transportation sector is actually the largest producer of CO2 emissions out of all the industries. And so, our focus is on being able to bring cleaner solutions forward to really have a positive impact on moving goods from point A to point B.
And so could you maybe provide an overview of the new Hypertruck electric range extender that the company recently introduced, kind of going into how it works and some of the benefits it offers?
So Hypertruck ERX is a fully electric vehicle. Starting at the front of the truck, we actually have a CNG-powered engine that powers a generator. The power generated in this system charges up the batteries. The batteries are large enough to sustain 25 miles full electric. And on the back of the truck, we actually have a conventional set of axles driven by a fully electric drivetrain. And so that's really ERX. They use some of the unique characteristics about ERX relative to other competitive solutions. The range of the truck is in excess of 1,000 miles. The truck operates 24 hours a day. And I think the key thing, when we talk to our customers is they feel very comfortable with our technology, given the fact we're leveraging, off-the-shelf type technologies that are fully validated. And of course, Thomas touched upon, the value proposition as well. So all in all, it's a very robust solution. Yeah, a lot of support from our fleets and other potential customers.
And so how does this particular technology maybe fit in with some of the trends you guys are seeing in regards to electric vehicle components and overall design?
In terms of the trends, it kind of goes back to those three solutions I mentioned earlier, right? We're seeing a major influx in fully electric plug-in vehicle focus. But what we're finding is those vehicles are really applicable for more shorter haul local deliveries, right? That's where full electric plug-in works extremely well. As we look at the long haul space, what happens is the size of a battery pack that you would need on a fully electric truck just becomes too large. And also the amount of electricity you need to pull from the grid in order to recharge a truck like that. There's a study done that showed, plugging in two fully electric fast charge semi trucks consume more electricity than an entire truck manufacturing plant, right? Two trucks recharging more power than an entire plant. So when you get to those sort of economics, it kind of, begs the question, how is this really going to work? How's the infrastructure going to be able to support it? So that's where, for this long haul space, fleets are really looking at hydrogen fuel cell and our solution with electrification. And while we see there are some really strong benefits of hydrogen fuel cell and strong opportunities, we're far ways away from having it being a practical solution for this market. We don't have infrastructure set up yet for hydrogen fuel cell. We don't have mass commercialized fuel cell technology yet. And we also don't have a cost of fuel cell or of hydrogen that makes sense yet. And that's where, we really see our solution as being very practical for the normal fleet operator. CNG today, and especially RNG, renewable natural gas, has the ability to actually have the lowest cost of fuel compared to all these other solutions, even diesel. And it's at that low cost today, right? There's a lot of future projections that hydrogen is going to get down to a couple of dollars per diesel gallon equivalent, or that's kind of what's being forecast or projected many years ahead. But reality right now is it's over $10 per diesel gallon equivalent, right? Natural gas, CNG, RNG, we're working with fleets that are already buying it for less than $1 per diesel gallon equivalent, and we're at the dollar mark. So there's a strong cost opportunity there, but then there's also the emission side. And as you look at those other two types of solutions, fully electric and hydrogen fuel cell, you really need to look at where does the electricity or the hydrogen come from. And in many instances, with hydrogen, the hydrogen that's produced today in the U.S. is actually more polluted than diesel truck. It comes from steam methane reforming, which can be a very polluting process. Only a little bit of it comes from electrolysis, which is, what we think of as clean hydrogen. Now with electric, a lot of it's still coming from coal-fired power plants or nuclear, some of it's natural gas. And so the emissions there, it's not a zero emission vehicle unless it's coming from purely wind and solar. One of the unique things we have an opportunity to do with our vehicle is use renewable natural gas, capturing methane coming off of landfills and dairy farms, and using that, gases to be able to fuel the vehicle. And it actually offers a net carbon negative emissions profile or the potential to have. And that's where we really see a strong ability to have cost savings and emission savings.
Last question I had is kind of what you guys maybe foresee as far as electrification trends in the future, and maybe any specific technologies or other aspects that you see coming?
The reality is it's a fascinating and exciting time, right? There's so much going on towards electrification, and the interest from the fleets has created this massive tailwind behind making electrified solutions a reality, right? Electric trucks, the concept of them has been around for a very long time, but we're now getting to the point where it's actually becoming true and real, and fleets are actively trying to figure out what solution is going to be right for them. From our standpoint, we see our Hypertruck ERX solution as a very practical and realistic way to bring electrification forward, and doing it in a way where we're trying to partner and work with the other companies that are in the space, right? We're working with the existing truck OEMs to put our powertrain in that vehicle as opposed to clean sheeting the design of an entirely new vehicle. And, I think that's where, it's going to be fascinating over the years ahead. I mean, no doubt there'll be a lot of solutions brought to market here. There'll be plug-in trucks, there'll be fuel cell trucks, there'll be our solution. And I think what fleets are really going to look at is, what's going to be practical? How's this really going to work for my operation? Is the costs make sense? Is it going to save me money? Are the emission savings really there? And is there infrastructure in order to be able to run these vehicles, right? I mean, that's, we're fortunate that, right now there's, tons of stations to be able to refuel a diesel truck across the U.S. And we're fortunate that there's already an infrastructure built out for natural gas. There's over 700 stations, right? So as we look at the practicality of being able to run these trucks, obviously diesel is practical, but it doesn't have that emissions benefits or savings that we need. Natural gas and renewable natural gas does, and that infrastructure is already there. We just need to have the technology that can enable us to really leverage it heavily and be able to drive as a purely electric vehicle as well, to really reduce emissions from the actual drivetrain itself. So, that's where, we see our solution being very practical, but no doubt there's a lot to come on the electrification space.
Great. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to speak with me today about your technology and the trends you guys are seeing.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.